Give y'all a minute to get up in here. Give y'all a minute to get all up in it. What is going on here? How y'all doing? Give me a minute. Give y'all a minute to get up in this piece. Give y'all a minute. See, I ain't no fool. Oh, God damn it. How y'all doing? Give me a minute. How y'all doing this afternoon, this evening, wherever you're at in the world? It's Tyrus Bane in the building. What is going on, man? A lot of activity. A lot of activity going on. On my way to run some errands. I think somebody asked, what was that, old head deuce, or yeah, old head deuce, I believe you asked if the balloon was really Chinese. I don't know. That's what they're saying it is. My thing is, I don't understand why they would blow it up out of the sky after it had already traversed the entire United States. And then wait until it's over the coast of the Atlantic to blow it down, instead of while it's on the Pacific, or I think they said it came through Alaska. Before it even came into the country, I don't understand why they didn't just blow it out of the sky then. Because whatever it set out to do got accomplished. So, I mean, and like I told you, I showed you guys yesterday, or was it the day before? I think it was the day before, Saturday, that it was pretty much hovering over Fort Jackson for a little bit. I don't know I don't know. I don't know if it was Chinese. I don't know if it was a fair campaign or both. I don't know if China was trying to test our reserve. But, you know, by the left-right paradigm logic, we're seeing that good old sleepy, sniffy Joe ain't got no balls when it comes to China. Or more aptly, China has Biden by the balls, if you are to go with the left-right paradigm narrative. But I have no idea. China is a real threat to our sovereignty and to our freedom, the little bit of freedom we have over here. It is actually pretty adversarial to our freedoms. You know, I was watching a clip just to put you in the mindset of how dangerous China can be. I was watching a clip of this TV show called Yellowstone, right? And I plan on actually watching the show, just because it's supposed to have some, you know, it has a lot of callbacks to, you know, masculinity and, you know, manhood and all this other shit, and actually not being sissified and pussified and all this other, not having that woke agenda. So I was watching a clip of Yellowstone, and it was one of those clips that said every time a Dutton, or what, I think his last name is Dutton, every time a Dutton, how Duttons deal with trespassers. So basically, they were doing a tour for Chinese folks in Montana, or wherever it's at. Montana, Iowa, wherever the fuck. And the daddy Dutton, I forgot his first name, came across this tour group, and this tour group ended up on his land. And so he's like, what the hell y'all doing here? Get off my land, right? So he pulled out his rifle, and one of the Chinese men is like, it's crazy how one man owns all this land, right? One man should not have all this land. Basically what that Chinese man was saying, basically being communist minded, anti-capitalist, whatever. And in Dutton responded with, this is America, you know, that's how we do it round here. We don't share land around here, right? Unless we have part ownership in the land, right? Well, with communists and socialists, everything owned by the state, they just let you partake in what they say is theirs, and you have to perform labor and do this, that, and the third, and you get your little share of what they feel you're supposed to have. If you don't get off my fucking ass, it's a redistribution of wealth. One thing about South Carolina, these motherfuckers, the drivers in South Carolina will ride your ass. You could be doing 90, okay? You could be doing 90 in the fast lane, and there's always somebody who thinks you're going too slow, and they'll ride your ass. I don't get over. I'm not going to get out of the way for your ass. If you want to go faster than me, you got to go around me. I ain't about to get out your way. If I'm already doing 80, 90 miles per hour, which I would never do, right? If that ain't fast enough for you, fuck off. Anyway, so, and here's the thing. I have no illusions, okay, about how other countries treat their people. I have no illusions about how good it is in other countries compared to the United States. And I know that there are certain things that I can do in the United States that I can't do in other countries. And I know that in other countries, they have certain freedoms that we don't have here, or they have certain mindsets that are very conducive to a good society that we don't practice here for simple reasons. But because we have so many firearms in this country, so among the people, this is the reason we have the best country in the world. It's not because of the Constitution, right? Which the Constitution is supposed to secure our rights, right? Including the right to keep and bear arms, including the rights to free speech, including this, that, and third, including the right to due process, which is what I'm going to touch on in regards to Andrew Tate. These are things that we enjoy here in the United States, not because it was written in the Constitution, right? Not because of that. It's because we have so many firearms as our rights are recognized by the Constitution that they have to do things certain ways. They have to slowly, piece by piece, take our freedoms away. And the more they do, the more we recognize and notice it, the more people are standing up, the more people are gaining a level of awareness about Big Daddy government and who really runs government, right? We know the bankers, the special interest groups, we know that they run this shit. And at the end of the day, there are 116 different groups that are anti-gun that are trying to push Joe Biden to do certain things in the State of the Union address tomorrow. They want him to, it's just a lot. They want him to do more funding for red flag laws for states. There's so many things they want him to do that they're pushing for. They want us to eat lab-grown meat. They're already doing it in parts of Europe where they're growing this lab-grown meat. They're doing it. They're making steaks and shit out of a 3D printer. These are things that they're doing. They want us to eat that type of shit. They want to take samples of human beings and grow meat based on those samples, right? That humans, there's an article that asks, would you eat human meat if you could save the world? If you could save the world, would you eat human meat? So they want you to eat GMO plants, lab-grown meat from 3D printers, human grown meat. You know what I mean? Meat grown out of human tissue samples. They're asking different celebrities, oh, can we get a sample of your flesh so that we can make it? It's wild and crazy shit. Crickets. They want you to eat crickets and roach milk and all this type of shit. And they want to have everything. They want to have the delicious beef steaks. They want to have the venison. They want to have the real pork bacon that is so fucking delicious. They want eggs, which is why all these egg laying hen plants and or farms and all these egg plants are burning down, all this, that, and the third. And then they're talking about how the feed has shit that stops the chicken from laying eggs. They want to have complete control over everything, right? It's hard for them to do that in the United States without some level of subterfuge, right? Like, they can't just go and shut down these egg factories. Well, they'll ask, why are you shutting down my egg factory? Oh, because we don't want y'all to eat eggs. We want you to eat bullshit. We don't want you to have all the nutrition that eggs have in it. I want you guys to look up, don't take my word for it. Look up all the nutritional value that eggs have, right? They demonize cholesterol, they demonize fat, they demonize egg yolk, when the egg yolk is a multivitamin. You don't need a daily multivitamin pill or a chewable. You can just eat 2 or 3 eggs, eat 4 or 5 eggs, raw, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And you'll have essentially all the micronutrients you basically need as a human being, and it's completely absorbable. The protein in an egg is some of the most human absorbable protein in the world, better than any plant. You understand what I'm saying? Alongside with beef and all this type of shit. They don't want that. They have to do shit on the sneak tip. You know, chicken farms have to mysteriously burn down. They can't just do like they do in Europe and say, oh no, you gotta cull your chickens. They actually did that with some chicken. They had the bird flu scare, and the FDA tried to tell some farmers, you had to cull some chickens or whatever, but that didn't go that far. But in Europe, you best to do it, because guess what? They don't have the right to keep and bear arms. It's simple. It's simple. Take away the rights to keep and bear arms, you ain't got jack shit, right? You ain't got jack shit going on, but you have that here in the United States. I mean, you have that right everywhere. Every human being has the right to keep and bear arms. It's just it's not recognized or protected or allowed to be practiced in other countries like Canada. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not written on paper, the people feel like, oh, well, the government can come and they can take our rights to keep and bear arms because it's not our Constitution. And that's the problem with relying on the Constitution to ensure that your rights are upheld. That's the problem with it. The Constitution is not there to protect your rights. It's there to let the government know that these rights shall not be infringed upon. And it's for the people to understand this. It's really for the people to understand that if your government steps on this, if they push the line in these first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights, then it's up to you, the people, to resist and basically replace the government. That's really what we're supposed to do. It's incumbent upon us to make sure that it's the consent of the governed. It's up to us to take away our consent when tyranny is thriving. When you see tyranny raises ugly head, we are supposed to take away our consent and do something else. That's what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to sit up here and say, oh, well, it's the law now. The Congress people said it. The Congress people voted it in. Then the senators voted it in. Then the president signed it. Oh, no, we in order for us to do anything, we got to wait for we got to take it to this court. We got to take it to the local court. Then we got to go district court. Then we got to go to this court, that court. And then we got to wait for the Supreme Court. And they might not even fucking take it up. The Supreme Court is not obligated to hear any fucking cases. But at the same time, it's not up to the Supreme Court to I think I went past my exit. It's not up to Supreme Court to protect to do what we're supposed to do. The Supreme Court is not going to protect your rights. You understand? The Supreme Court is going to, the Supreme Court justices are going to ensure that they gonna sit in that seat and make their little money. But I mean, they might take up a case here and there. The Bruin decision was kind of in our favor. You know what I'm saying? But you know what happened? Brett Kavanaugh was like, yeah, but y'all can still go ahead and y'all can go ahead and still have the required permit bullshit, which is that's some shit that should have been eradicated. The Bruin decision should have been, they don't need a permit, constitutional carry across the board. Any violation of this is unconstitutional and blah, blah, blah. But they didn't do that. They didn't do that. What they did was they said, well, we'll take away the may issue and make it shall issue, but you can still have these permit process. And then what did that give the state the ability to do? It gave the state the ability to add extracurricular bullshit to it. To further, it made it worse. They came up with worse restrictions. They made the entire goddamn state of New York basically a sensitive face. So this is the problem. That's the problem. It's up to us. We can't rely on the Congress. We can't rely on the Republicans in Congress. We can't rely on any of these people to do any of that. We have to do this shit ourselves. It's up to us. It's the consent of the governed, right? The Constitution laid it out for us. If we don't consent, we don't consent, goddammit. Damn it. Missed my fucking exit now. It's on some bullshit. Anyway. Yeah, so what's up? Our Constitution is each individual's restriction in a collective document, but only if it is enforced or being forced. Exactly. Having a right is meaningless when the population fears using it. Exactly. And that's why I always say we got to stand on our nuts. Stand on your nuts and say, hell no. Hell no. Like this, let me tell y'all something. This pistol brace rule, whether you believe in pistol braces, whether you think it's useful or whatever, this pistol brace rule is a test to see who will comply, right? It's a compliance test. They're going to see who's going to register their weapons, who's going to turn their shit into the ATF, all this type of shit. Who's going to destroy this? Who's going to destroy that? And they might even come to a couple people's doors. They'll take these forms and they'll look at the description of the firearm, and if it looks like a short-barreled rifle or a AR pistol, they're just going to assume, well, maybe this guy has a pistol brace. Then they might go to your house. They might ask to see the firearm. They're not going to have a fucking warrant. That's going to be the test. If they come to your house and they ask to see your shit, you ain't got to show them shit. You don't have to show them shit. If they don't have a warrant, you don't have to show them a goddamn thing, because how are they going to obtain a warrant without probable cause and all this bullshit? They're not going to have probable cause. They're going to say, oh, well, we think you have a short-barreled rifle with a pistol brace, so we need to see and make sure that you're in compliance. You tell them to fuck off. No. Get the fuck off my property. I'm just saying, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. But I don't own a short-barreled rifle. I don't own anything with a pistol brace. I don't own any firearm. I lost all my shit, unfortunately, in a boating accident. So, all I have are hammers and baseball bats. That's all I got. But even with all that being said, look at what just happened there. They can ask you if they can see your firearm, and you can say, well, do you have a warrant? If they say no, you can tell them to fuck off in this country. Even though they have this pistol brace rule, which is at the end of the day a paper tiger, or it should be, because guess what? Our lawmakers, they should be calling this shit out. They're supposedly calling it out in Congress. They should be calling this out and say, hey man, hey, you're a bureaucracy. You're not full of elected folks. You can't create laws and regulations based on your own arbitrary interpretation based on what the president told you he wants you to do. That's not how it's supposed to work. They should be, they should be throwing it out. We should not have, come on now, dog. We should not have, man, fuck. Why are you gonna wait until we have the green light to let this motherfucker come out? Oh man, you gotta be fucking. Anyway, we don't need no goddamn another piece of legislation. Oh, come on, man. These motherfuckers. We don't need another piece of legislation to tell the FTF that they doing too much. The Supreme Court already ruled on bureaucracies creating this and doing whatever the fuck they want to do. Why are we create what? Anyway, moving on from that. Even despite all these efforts to strip us of our rights, strip us of many of our rights, not just the right to keep and bear arms, our right to free speech, our right to a redress of grievances, a right to practice our religion, whatever the fuck. They're trying to take all that shit away, but they can't. They still having a hard time. I mean, we still enjoy a lot of freedoms that they don't enjoy in other countries. And that's why I want to touch on the Andrew Tate situation. I don't know how many times the Tate brothers, not just Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, Andrew Tate, they have tried a number of times to get released from jail, right? They don't have the prosecution. They haven't had any charges pressed. They haven't had no charges filed, no evidence to file charges, nothing. They don't have any evidence, nothing like that. Yet they can still hold them. They can continue to extend their jail time based on mere allegations. Mere allegations. Not even enough allegations to charge them with the crime. Yet, what do we got? Them motherfuckers still sitting in jail. Right? And here's the thing. The funny thing is, how many times did Andrew Tate shit on the United States? Talking about, oh, I wouldn't live in the United States. It's this and that and it's bullshit and it's blah, blah, blah. Bragging about how he could pay off corrupt, Romanian police people, all this type of shit. But guess what? No amount of paying off shit. It didn't matter how many times you paid a Romanian cop to let you do shit. When push came to shove, them motherfuckers came and snatched your ass up. They can't hold you like that in the United States, unless it's for what they call that thing that Bush put into place. What? Come on, help me out, people. After 9/11, the Patriot Act. But nothing that they were accused of would have anything to do with would have anything to do with terrorism, right? Yes, sex trafficking, all this, that, and the third is a horrible thing. I think it's worse than terrorism. I think that if you get caught sex trafficking children, particularly, and even women or men, like you taking a human being and you're forcing them to participate in a sex trade that they don't want to participate in, and you're passing them around from this place to that place, it's human sex trafficking, you deserve to die. But there needs to be evidence. You have to prove it. You have to show beyond a shadow of a doubt that this occurred. They haven't even been charged with a crime. They haven't been charged with a crime. And they're still sitting in jail. They can't get bail, nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? They were placed on arrest based on suspicion. They can't even do that in the United States. They can hold you for a certain amount of hours, but if you're not charged with a crime, they can't have you sitting up jail for 30 days, 40 days, without a trial, without any evidence, without any nothing like that. But in Romania, apparently they can do that shit. Even they're violating EU statutes. The Romanian court is violating the European Union agreement shit. Okay? And they're still and nothing's happening. So Andrew Tate told y'all that America ain't shit, all this, that, and the third. Get out of America. If you in America, you're stupid and all this type of shit. But look what happened to him. Look what happened to him under suspicion. He's a political prisoner. Let's let that be understood. I don't agree with what's happening to them. What's happening to him? I think it's bullshit. Right? They should not be holding you without any evidence. That's bullshit. I don't like what happened to him, but take it as a lesson. Take it as a lesson. Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate are American citizens, apparently, right? But they have decided that the United States ain't shit, and it's better in Europe and all this, that, and the third. But they finding out if they were here, and those allegations, they probably wouldn't even have had these allegations brought against them without evidence. You know what I mean? They probably wouldn't even have these because they would not be able to hold them in court like that. You understand what I'm saying? So yes, when people talk about when you're a B. Tatum's and you're Anthony Brian Logan's and you're all these confused Republicans tell you that this is the best country on earth, they're leaving out one thing. It's the best tyrannical country on earth. Because, I wouldn't say because of the Constitution, but because the right to keep and bear arms kind of keeps that Constitution as, don't violate this. But we know they violate the Constitution all the time. And people, let's face it, most people at the end of the day are going to be afraid to exercise their rights to protect themselves against tyranny, right? Meaning they're going to be afraid, they're not going to want to use the Second Amendment to protect them from tyranny or to overthrow tyranny. Most of them are going to be afraid, but you don't need everybody. You understand what I'm saying? You don't need everybody, right? They can make an example of you, like they did at Ruby Ridge with them cult. What they said were cults that were amassing weapons and this, that, and the third. And they came to their land, and basically the FBI and the ATF killed a bunch of kids and women and kids and men and women, and made an example of them, basically. And said, who were those? Who was that group? I don't know. My brain is funky today. I forgot. But anyway, y'all know what I'm saying. But that's why really you got to be careful about how you go about doing your damn thug thizzle. Yeah, in Waco. Yeah, that thing. Waco. Whatever the guy's name was, and they all they were doing is like making sure that they were prepared. And the daddy government came to see about them, and they lost. But hey, that shit happens. But y'all know what I'm saying. Most people are going to be hesitant, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be everybody. But the thing is, we do have those 400 million firearms, and we don't need an F-16 like Joe Biden says, or this, that, and the third, to do anything. We don't need that. We don't need it. We don't need it. We just have to be smart about how we go about doing what we need to do, right? You know how when our military invades other countries, and basically that's what we do, especially in the last 100 or so years, when we go and invade other people's countries and, you know, give them democracy and free them from their dictatorship and all this type of shit, what do we try to do? We try to win the hearts and minds of the people there so that basically they don't get in the way of our conquest. That's basically what it is. You win the hearts and minds of the people in the region you're trying to conquer, so that they give you less resistance. So you tell them that their dictator's bad. We're here to help. You give them candy. You give the kids water and sugar, and you know you make them love you, and you know you give them food. Whatever you got to do to win the hearts and minds of the people. Well, let's say over here, the people of the United States, when it comes to our own military, we have to kind of do the reverse. You see what I'm saying? We have to kind of do the reverse. We have to, you know, one of the least protected classes in this country is veterans. Veterans are one of the least protected classes, one of the least protected groups in this country. And, you know, one way to get them on our side, because they have a lot of knowledge and training that is very useful. One way we get is we embrace the veterans. We embrace them. We let them know we got your back. You know what I'm saying? We let them know that you're a valuable asset to the community. And a lot of veterans would be satisfied with that. Like, they'd have that sense of purpose. They're not in the military anymore where they exercise their purpose in the military. But now they go into their community takes them in and say, hey, why is Trader Joe's like this right now? This is fucking ridiculous. Columbia is getting ridiculous, y'all. Like, everybody and their mama's moving to Columbia, South Carolina. And like, people are parking in non-parking spots. That's how bad it is. Anyway. And I told my wife, I said once, because they're building these battery factories and shit out here because of the infrastructure bill. And there's a lot of money and a lot of jobs coming through here. And so, you know, they're going to be a lot of people moving out here to take these jobs. I told my wife, I was like, man, because she's in real estate. She can really take advantage of that. But I'm like, once it starts getting hot and heavy, we getting the fuck out of here. Oh, shit. Hold up. Hold on, killer. Once it starts getting hot and heavy, we moving somewhere else. We're leaving. Because I am not about to I'm not about to be in California 2.0. It ain't about to happen. Or New York 2.0. Or New Jersey 2.0. Or Philly 2.0. I'm not about to have none of that shit going on around me. So, as soon as I see it getting hot, I'm going to let the property value of my house go up. Maybe convert it to an Airbnb or something like that and just fucking take my ass to Tennessee somewhere. I like Chattanooga. Anyway. Because it's getting ridiculous, y'all. Anyway. So, I mean, if Andrew Tate gets out of this, if he's smart, because they didn't seize a lot of his property, they seized a lot of his money, his cars and shit. If I were him, I'd look into getting my ass back to the United States. That's what I'm talking about. Tell you what, Bobby. That's what I'd be doing. If I were him, But oh, you know what? Not being in the U.S., not what it's cracked up to be. And ultimately, that's why I didn't leave him when my best friend left. He was trying to convince me. He wanted to do a PowerPoint on why we should go to Africa. Miss me with that shit. If you move to another city, it's a pointless move. Move to the middle of nowhere. That's what I said. I'm moving to not in the Chattanooga proper, but around that area, where in the mountains. Because the good thing about those mountains is it don't snow as much as it would in, like, say, North Carolina. If I would go to North Carolina, it snow like a motherfucker. Or if I went to, I'm also thinking about maybe like Stone Mountain in Georgia, somewhere where I can get where I don't feel like there'd be a lot of growth. Well, it's gotten more expensive since I've been here, especially the housing. When I got here one year ago, I think it was 1 year ago, actually, on my birthday, or a couple days before my birthday. When I got here last year, the housing, the price of houses were much lower than they are now. But there's going to be a lot of growth in South Carolina, and yes, while we can take it, I want to take advantage of that growth. I don't want to be living here when that growth starts to actually happen. When you start seeing more traffic, seeing more people moving in, building more planned communities where they have HOAs, you can't have farm animals and that type of shit. I'm out. There is a city though, outside of Columbia, that I like. It's called Lugoff. So Lugoff is rural, considered, it's zoned as rural, and you still have farm animals. You can have the chickens, the goats, all that type of shit. They don't fuck with none of that. People can still have that type of shit. But the suburb I live in now, there's a lot of HOAs. You can't have chickens, you can't have rabbits, you can't have goats and all that type of shit. They don't like that. But I'm about to be out this bitch. No. I don't want to be in Atlanta. Hell no. But Stone Mountain is north of Atlanta. I don't want to be in Atlanta. But I definitely, I actually prefer Tennessee because of the taxes. I prefer Tennessee because of the taxes. And I want to stay in like the mountainous regions. And maybe if I get some land around some mountains or in some mountains or something like that, where I can be off the road, where you can't see my house from the road, that type of shit, that's what I'm looking at. But anyway, much love, like, share, subscribe. I gotta get out of here. And yeah, this is the best country as far as tyranny goes in the United States. So that's, we still have a better chance of obtaining true freedom than most people in other countries, because they fucked. They didn't give up. Especially Australia, New Zealand, those type of places, they fucked themselves all off in the game, allowing their governments to do what the fuck they did. So anyway, much love, like, subscribe. We're gonna keep marching forward toward